After months of wait, the MG Comet is finally here and we're driving it. Now this is a micro electric car that MG claims has the capability to redefine the mobility landscape in India. But then again, MG is bound to make those claims. How many of those claims are true and how many aren't? The best way to find out is to drive. So let's drive and find out what this little electric car is all about. Now the most striking part about the MG Comet is of course its design. Now if you look at the exterior design, this car is unlike any other car out there in the market. It's got a very different, cute and a modern design. Being an electric car, it's got everything shut off up front. So unlike a petrol or diesel car, there are no open vents here that are not required for cooling. Of course, you've got the charging hatch here and this nice looking LED DRL that runs from one end to the other, giving a car a very nice energetic look. If you look at the headlamp cluster also, it has been neatly integrated into the overall scheme of things. You've got the turn indicators here. Overall, the car comes across as a nice modern looking vehicle, which at the same time gives you the visual effect of it being transformational or something futuristic. As you move to the side, one of the key things that you will end up noticing is the wheels. 12-inch wheels. Now, the moment I say 12-inch wheels, don't think, oh, they're so small. You need to keep in mind the fact that the overall car isn't that big. It's not a very big car. So, considering the size of the car, the wheels are small, but they still kind of blend in. Even on the side, you've got the door handles for the doors here. And the doors, by the way, are really big. Now, if you look at the overall length of the vehicle, considering that a fair percentage of the bodywork is the doors itself. So that allows you very good, easy ingress and egress. So that part is definitely sorted. As you move further back, you've got this very different looking glass panel, the window here. And once you're inside, the view out of it is just like you get from an aircraft window. Also, when you move back, you will have this electric badging here. You've got the blacked out roof, which, by the way, the contrast element with the green color looks very cool. And this car itself in this green shade looks nice. It's an electric car, so green is definitely a color that goes along well with the overall character of this vehicle. The rear design again is quite similar to the front design. The tail lamp cluster looks similar to the headlamp cluster. The LED DRL is again similar to the LED DRL up front, but overall it's again a clean looking design, and at the same time, like I said, for the front, it looks premium, it looks modern, and overall I think the MG Comet comes across as a very impressive looking design. It is unconventional, definitely it's very different looking, but it's a pleasing vehicle to look at. Now before we move ahead, let me give you a perspective of the size of this vehicle. I said it's a small vehicle, and you can see that I've got my arms stretched out, and this is how large the Comet is. Now does that mean that with such a small size, the cabin would probably be crammed up and uncomfortable? Let's find out by heading inside. Now the moment you step inside the cabin of the Comet, well, that is when you're bound to be surprised. Because when you look at the vehicle from the outside, you would assume that there wouldn't be much space inside the cabin, but the moment you step inside, you will be surprised to see how spacious the cabin of the seemingly small car is. Like I said earlier, the doors are large and that allows you easy access to the cabin. And once you're here, well, the seats are in no way compromised in terms of size. So these are proper seats and they have good cushioning, good support. At the same time, When you look at the dash, it's got a modern and a very nice premium dashboard. So you can see there's a very generous use of light shades. There is some fabric here and you've got metallic brushes here. So it's a combination of many elements that at the end of the day comes together and looks pretty nice. What really stands out in the cabin is this dual screen setup, which gives you the infotainment screen here and the fully digital instrument cluster here. This instrument cluster is particularly nice, gives you a lot of information in a very nice and good to look manner. The infotainment screen, on the other hand, again it's cool, it has a good resolution, it's got an easy interface. The touch response, I think, is fairly okay. I wouldn't say it's completely fluid because at times there's a hint of a lag. But beyond that, I think it's a brilliant unit, looks well, does the job. It's got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, both wireless. Adding further to this infotainment screen is the fact that it gives you access to connectivity. So this is a fully connected car, and that means that you get a lot of connectivity features. You also get voice commands. So that again goes very well with the modern and the smart car positioning that MG is claiming with the Comet. The clutter-free and the clean layout of the cabin, the theme continues because you can see there aren't many buttons here. All you get here in terms of button are these three circular knobs, and you have one button for changing the drive mode. Beyond that, everything else is to be controlled from the screen or from the steering wheel buttons. The steering wheel itself, again, a very different looking unit. It's just a two-spoke wheel. Again, goes very well with the clean and the minimalistic design approach. It feels good to hold. It's not a chunky steering. I don't think a car of this size needs a chunky steering. But yeah, I mean, it's a fairly easy and a very light steering at the same time. When I look at the space inside the cabin, you can see there is a lot of space, no compromise in terms of space, and storage space also has been integrated very well inside the cabin. The key fob, well, first of all, the key fob is a pretty cool looking one. You can get it customized. You can get your name also engraved on it. So you can place small things such as the key fob here, and the door pockets. Well, they've got a lot of space. So you can put water bottles, you can put a laptop, you can put your phone, you can put a lot of stuff here. Adding further to the practicality is the fact that you've got a lot of space here because there is no traditional console. So there are these nicely integrated two hooks. So when you go shopping, you can just put your bags here. And of course, you've got the USB and the charging socket here. You also have a 12-volt socket here. So very nice and smart usage of space inside the MG Comet. If I talk about the center console, well, you've got this very cool looking rotary knob here for the drive selection, and well, it works well. I think it's got a nice tactile feel to it, so that goes well with the modern and premium positioning of the cabin. Here in the center console, there is no driver armrest, but that's not a negative point, I would say, because it's a fairly small car. And considering the dynamics of this car, I mean, I can still live without an armrest. One concern I do have about this cabin is, and that's not in terms of the quality or the build quality, it is the usage of the color. So they have used a lot of fabric here, and just with one day of testing, there are already marks on it, there are stains. So when you use this car over a period of say 6 months or a year, I don't think this color is going to hold up in a way where it'll look good. So that might be a concern in the long term. But if you think you can maintain it, well, it looks good for sure. And now let's head to the rear seat. First of all, let's see how easy it is to get in. So all you do is flip this, push the seat forward, and you've got this space to enter. So yes, entering the car and getting out of it is not a problem. There is enough space for it, and once you settle into the rear seat, well, this is how things look. I've got the driver's seat adjusted to my driving preference. I'm 5 feet 8 inches, and you can see that I do have some amount of knee room to spare. Leg room, well, not too bad. So yes, it's not a cramped interior. The problem with the back is that the seat is quite low. And because of that, you sit with your knees pointed upwards. That means you've got almost no thigh support. But is that a bad thing? Well, I don't think so. And the reason for that is the fact that this is an urban car. So you are not going to be sitting here for hours. You're not going to go from one city to other. You'll be here for probably a few minutes, maybe half an hour or an hour. So from that perspective, I think yes, it's got the space to be around for some time. So it's a spacious cabin. The seat has got good cushioning. So in terms of backrest, even the headrest, it gives you a good posture. It's just that the lack of under thigh support, well, it will be bothersome only if you're going to be here for hours, which is not going to be the case mostly with the Comet. Let's talk about the performance of the Comet, and well, let's get the basic specs out of the way. First of all, this has a 17.3 kilowatt hour battery. Might not sound as if it's big, but you need to keep in mind that the car itself also isn't big, so it's fine. And the claimed range is 230 kilometers, and the power output is about 40 horsepower, 110 newton meters of torque. Now the claimed range is 230, and with a lot of vehicles we have seen that, especially EVs, that the claimed range is quite high, but the real world range isn't anywhere close. That fortunately is not the case with the Comet. The way I've been driving it today, and especially given the fact that at one point of time I was driving it pretty aggressively to check for a lot of other things, I did find out that the lowest I could get it to was a calculated range of 148 kilometers. So which means that if you are not driving in sports mode, you're driving in normal mode, you're driving normally, you should easily be able to get about 180 to 190 kilometers on a single charge, which is good enough range for an urban car. In terms of charging, well, you can either plug it into a 16 ampere socket, or you can charge it using the wall box charger, which will come with the car. You don't have to pay anything extra for that. One wall box charger's price has already been incorporated into the cost of this car. Charging time will be 7 hours from 0 to 100 on a 16 ampere socket, and on a wall box charger, of course, you can take it from not to full in about 3 to 4 hours. So that is where having a small battery benefits. You don't have to wait for hours to charge this car. Now, how does it drive? Well, in terms of driving, one might expect that this may be a slow car to drive, might not be fun, but it's the complete opposite, because it's a light car. So that 40 horsepower is more than enough. And that's the reason why you can actually dart in and out of the traffic and gaps with ease. The car has enough power to just go along. In fact, you can go easily up to 80 kilometers and beyond. Although this is an urban car, it's not a car where you would travel between cities. But if you have to drive at an 80, say on an expressway or somewhere, you'll still not be a moving roadblock for others. So people aren't going to be frustrated or aren't going to be swearing on you because you're going too slow. It can keep up with normal traffic with ease. What makes things better is the fact that the all-round visibility is great. Combine that with the small exterior dimensions and you get a car which is very easy to drive. You also get a reverse parking camera and sensor, so that again makes things a little bit more easier. But overall, it's pretty much like driving a go-kart, a thoroughly fun experience. But when I say go-kart, don't think that it handles like a go-kart around corners. That's not the case. It's got these small 12-inch wheels, and that's where the limitation of these wheels comes in around corners. If you're trying to go through a corner fast, well, there will be a lot of body roll. The tires have limited amount of grip, and the vehicle just won't feel comfortable going around corners at a fast pace. But this isn't designed to do that. It's an urban car, and you're supposed to be driving it in the urban environment like I am right now, in the middle of traffic. Well, there is no possibility for me right now to go fast around a corner. So yes, as an urban car, it's perfectly fine. It does the job. Like I said, it can get up to 80-90 kilometers with ease. Straight line stability is not a problem at all. Even when you brake from speed like 80 or 85 kilometers, the car's composure is good. So from that respect, yes, a good car to drive, fun, and adequately powerful, I would say. Now that was all about basic performance. Now I want to talk about the cost of the car, and in case you're wondering why I'm talking about the cost of the car in between and not at the end of the video, well, the reason is that this is where I'll explain how MG has saved cost, and that too in a smart manner. Like I spoke about the cabin earlier, there's no cost cutting, evident cost cutting inside the cabin. It feels like a premium cabin. So where has MG cut cost? Because a lot of people are expecting this car to be priced between 10 to 15 lakh, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think this car will be priced between 7 to 10 lakh. This top version being around 10 lakh. So where has MG cut costs? Well, the driving part, the powertrain, is where there is some bit of cost cutting, which does not have much of a negative impact. For example, the BMS they've used appears to be a very basic one. The reason for that is when you change from sport mode to eco or a normal mode, it does not change the indicated range. There is no change in the indicated range, so it cannot immediately calculate the difference. If you switch off the AC, the indicated range does not go up instantly. So it's a very basic BMS that they've used. That is probably where they've cut costs. They've not used an electronic parking brake. It's a normal handbrake, so they've saved cost there as well. And it also does not have the crawl function, and that I think is a bit of a downer for me, because for a car that is aimed to be an urban electric vehicle, it should have had the crawl function, especially when you're in traffic. But then again, like I said, a basic BMS, that is where MG has saved cost, and all of that cost saving combined, I think, will lead to a pricing of 7 to 10 lakh. Yes, not many people will tell you that, but I think this model, the top version Comet, will be priced under rupees 10 lakh. Let's see. And at that price, I think the Comet will sell in good numbers, because it's a car that will not appeal to people who are buying their first car. This will always be bought as a second and third car. And when you look at that usage, it makes a great case for itself, because as a second or third car, you're getting a car that is small, nimble, easy to use, isn't too complicated, and doesn't cost a bomb, and gives you all the features that you would get in any other normal car, and is spacious as well. So at that price point that I just mentioned, I think the Comet will make great sense and will be bought by many people who are just kind of frustrated with being stuck in traffic jams or fighting for parking space. This is a great solution to all those problems. So yes, an impressive car, and as long as the pricing is spot on, pretty much where I mentioned, the MG Comet makes a great case for itself.